The Lindner Family Tennis Center in Mason, Ohio, fell silent. Not the silence of defeat, not the silence of disappointment, the silence of admiration. Alexandra Eala had just lost. The 21-year-old from Quezon City, the pride of the Philippines, the woman who had captured the hearts of millions, had fallen to world number 10 Amanda Anisimova in a gut-wrenching 3-set battle. The final scoreline read 6-4, 4-6, 2-6. Her 5-match winning streak against top 10 players had come to an end. But as she walked off the court, something remarkable happened. The crowd didn't disperse in disappointment. They rose to their feet. The Philippine flags didn't stop waving. They waved even harder. The chants of Laban, Alex, didn't fade. They grew louder. Because in that moment, everyone understood something profound. Alex Eala didn't need a trophy to be a champion. She had already won something far more important. She had won the hearts of an entire nation. When he would have fights, everyone was so excited, and it was just a chance for people to come together. Eala had said earlier in the tournament, drawing a parallel to boxing legend Manny Pacquiao. I guess my journey has similar things, or can give similar things like what Pacquiao gave. She was right, because just like Pacquiao's fights that once emptied streets across the Philippines, Eala's matches had kept a nation sleepless. And her defeat in Cincinnati, it didn't change a thing. Welcome to the story of a young woman who didn't win the tournament, but won something far more valuable: the hearts of 110 million Filipinos. August 17, 2026. Mason, Ohio. The Lindner Family Tennis Center PG Center Court. The Cincinnati Open, the final WTA 1000 event before the U.S. Open. The stands were packed with Filipino flags, a sea of red, white, blue, and yellow that had become the signature of Eala's matches wherever she played. This was supposed to be the moment. Eala, the 17th seed, was on a roll. She had won her first WTA Tour singles title in Washington just 2 weeks earlier. She had extended her winning streak against top 10 players to 5 matches. She had packed stadiums from Washington to Toronto, turning tennis tournaments into celebrations of Philippine pride. And standing across the net was Amanda Anisimova, world number 10, 9th seed, 2-time Grand Slam finalist. The American had acknowledged the massive following that had accompanied Eala around the tour. I know that it's probably going to be a very packed stadium, Anisimova had said. From the very first point, it was clear this would be a war. The opening set featured a grueling 20-minute fifth game, which Eala won to lead 3-2. Anisimova broke for 4-3, but Eala responded with 3 straight games to take the set 6-4. The second set remained on serve until Anisimova broke in the 7th game, leveling the match at 1 set apiece. In the decider, Eala broke early to lead 2-0. It looked like she was about to add another top 10 victory to her growing list of scalps. But then Anisimova stormed back, winning the next 6 games in a row to close out a 4-6, 6-4, 6-2 victory in 2 hours, 28 minutes. I know Alex is such a great player and such a fighter, Anisimova said after the match. I knew it was going to be a really tough match. The loss ended Eala's 5-match winning streak against top 10 players. But it did nothing to diminish the respect she had earned. If there was one thing that stood out about Eala's Cincinnati campaign, it wasn't the results on the court. It was the phenomenon off it. Filipino fans had repeatedly turned up in numbers wherever Eala played, waving Philippine flags and transforming neutral venues into scenes that sometimes resembled a Manila homecoming. Washington saw it. Toronto saw it. Cincinnati saw it. There was quite a bit of support for me tonight, Anisimova admitted after the match. I really appreciate that because I know how loved Alex is, and for good reason. Even Anisimova, the American playing on American soil, acknowledged that she felt Eala's presence in the stands. But I really appreciated it because I felt like I needed to pick me up in this match because it's past my bedtime. In her pre-tournament press conference, Eala had been asked what the essence of being Filipino meant to her. Her answer revealed everything about why she had captured the hearts of a nation. Filipino culture, and just every culture in general, is very layered. It's ever-evolving, she said. When I think of Filipino culture, what comes to mind is community, family, hospitality, love, and kindness. She even drew a parallel between herself and boxing legend Manny Pacquiao. When he would have fights, everyone was so excited, and it was just a chance for people to come together. Eala's impact had become so distinctive that the phrase home court almost seemed irrelevant. Miami, Washington, Toronto, or Cincinnati, the location changed, but the soundtrack stayed the same. Let's go, Alex. Philippine flags rose. Filipino voices grew louder. And in defeat, that soundtrack only grew stronger. Amanda Anisimova had come to Cincinnati with a mission to win. She had been 1-6 against top 20 players coming into the match, having lost her last 5 matches to top 20 opponents. This was a chance to turn her season around. But even in victory, Anisimova couldn't help but admire the woman across the net. Alex is such a great player and such a fighter, she said after the match. I knew it was really going to be a tough match. The American acknowledged Eala's incredible season and her growing fan base. She's been having such an incredible season, incredible year. Very great player with a lot of tennis fans. Anisimova admitted that the atmosphere had been unlike anything she had experienced. There was quite a bit of support for me tonight, so I really appreciate that because I know how loved Alex is. It was a moment of grace from one competitor to another, a recognition that Eala had become something special, an acknowledgement that the young Filipina had earned her place among the sport's elite. For Eala, the respect of her opponents was just as meaningful as any victory. She had beaten 7 top 10 players before arriving in Cincinnati. She had earned their respect, and now, even in defeat, that respect was on full display. I'm really proud of this performance for being able to find a way and kind of push myself there in the middle of the match, Anisimova said. It was a really, really tough match, and credit to her. She was really playing some great tennis to understand why Eala's defeat in Cincinnati didn't diminish her place in the hearts of Filipinos. You have to understand what she represents to the Philippines. She had become a symbol, a source of pride for a nation of over 110 million people, a gathering point for the Filipino diaspora, a way for people scattered across the globe to connect with their heritage, to celebrate their identity, to feel united in a shared purpose. I think it's just the level that I play that matters, Eala had said. A couple of sentences from them is enough to see a glimpse into their stories or, how tennis has impacted their lives, or how being Filipino and their pride has affected them personally. Pacquiao's fights had once emptied streets across the Philippines. Eala's matches had kept the nation sleepless because of the time zone she competed in. Both had followers who turned to their exploits for motivation. I think it's crazy how inspiration can affect other people to what depths, Eala said. The comparison to Pacquiao was one she accepted humbly. I think I'm still very, very far from the levels of Pacquiao, she said. He's done a lot for us athletes, I think, to pave the way. But even as she downplayed her place in the Filipino pantheon of sports heroes, the evidence was undeniable. Eala had become the WTA's big ticket over the last 2 years, drawing crowds to women's tour events whenever she competed. I guess my journey has similar things, or can give similar things like what Pacquiao gave, Eala said. I think they're beautiful journeys. They both have their own beautiful set of characteristics. In Cincinnati, the Filipino community had once again shown up in force. They had waved their flags. They had cheered her on. And when she lost, they didn't abandon her. They celebrated her. Because they knew the truth. Alex Eala hadn't just won matches. She had won their hearts. Alexandra Eala's Cincinnati campaign came to an end in the 3rd round. But her journey was far from over. Despite the loss, Eala was still set to climb to a new career high in the WTA rankings. She had already broken into the top 20 for the first time in her career after her Washington title. She had become the only player from the Philippines ever to reach the WTA Top 100, and now she was in the top 20. The U.S. Open awaited, the biggest stage in tennis, the final Grand Slam of the season, and Eala would be there, ready to fight again. I'm really happy with my debut, but I've always focused on the next thing, she had said after her Cincinnati run. And the Filipino fans would be there too, in the stands of Arthur Ashe Stadium, waving their flags, chanting her name. staying up late to watch her compete, because Alex Eala had shown them something more valuable than any trophy. She had shown them that it doesn't matter if you win or lose. What matters is how you fight, how you represent your country, how you inspire others. It's an amazing experience, Eala said of the Filipino support. It's nice to see that the Filipino community is really showing up and enjoying tennis. Hopefully, it will help grow the sport as well and, in the end, give them something new and joyful experience. I would describe it as community, she said of the Filipino fans. I think we, as Filipinos, we are a community that uplifts each other. We are a community that is proud when someone else does well. And so, we could take inspiration from other Filipinos because we have a shared love for our nation. We have a shared love for our culture. And I think that's very beautiful. From the cracked courts of Quezon City, where tennis was a luxury, to the center courts of Cincinnati, where she had packed stadiums with passionate supporters, Alexandra Eala had proven that champions are not defined by their victories. They're defined by the hearts they touch. And in Cincinnati, she had touched the hearts of millions. From the cracked courts of Quezon City to the center courts of Cincinnati, where she packed stadiums with passionate supporters, Alexandra Eala proved that champions are not defined by their victories. They're defined by the hearts they touch. She didn't win the Cincinnati Open, but she won the hearts of 110 million Filipinos. And that is a victory that will last forever.